Toxic foam from Bengaluru's lake spilled onto one of the prominent roads in the city, making it difficult for motorists to drive. White clouds of froth spilled onto this road, leading to a close shave for bikers. Earlier this year, if you remember, Varthur Lake had been filled with a pile of froth after rains mixed with untreated sewage were let out into it, raising health concerns among people living nearby. Such was the effect of this piled up froth that it spilled over to a road adjacent to the lake, causing hindrance to traffic movement on the busy road, even as unbearable stench hung in the air. There you can see disturbing, those are disturbing images really coming in, and a big worry for Bengaluru and its residents there. Toxic foam there on your screen, something that we'd even seen when Bengaluru's Varthur Lake had overflowed with toxic foam. Those who live around the areas are now facing a lot of disturbance and worry over this incident. This year, white clouds of froth are spilling on to the roads, that includes human waste, and that's a massive environmental hazard that we are seeing there on our screen. It led to massive traffic jams as well, and also put lives at risk, especially of motorists. And we've been getting a lot of reactions ever since the first incident took place in April this year, when we saw the toxic foam that emerged from the Varthur Lake in posh Whitefield in Bengaluru. Now this is yet another incident that we are seeing on our screen. Deputy Editor South Rohini Swami now joins me live. Rohini, this is really becoming a worrying situation for people in Bengaluru.
Absolutely. People here in Bangalore do not know what to do. A city that was known as a garden city, a city of lakes. Today you can actually see the lakes are frothing in their mouth, be it Bengaluru Lake, Yemlur Lake or Varthur Lake for that matter. Toxic waste are actually being flow into the lakes, and they cause this kind of bubbles. We've also seen how lakes and water catches fire because the kind of methane gases that are released into the water is actually causing even fire to the lakes to catch fire. Now the point is, citizens have taken it upon themselves now to show it to their lawmakers that this is a situation around their residents, this is a situation around their area. They're tweeting about it, they're using social media, yet the people who are concerned, the corporators, the MLAs, the government itself seems to be turning a blind eye, because we've seen over the months that even India Today has been covering and showing it and taking as a campaign to show that this is the kind of lakes that we have. The groundwater is getting contaminated. This is same groundwater that is used for people to drink, to the children, elders, everybody for that matter are consuming these kind of chemicals. It's almost like every morning, noon and night when you're eating food, because the vegetables that are also being irrigated, it is this very water that is being used. You're asking yourself, how many chemicals are you eating per day rather than how much of food that you're eating per day. That's the kind of situation that is being seen, extremely alarming. And the BBMP elections are going to be conducted on the 22nd of this month here, and this is one of the more important agenda that is being taken, especially by citizens, and maybe they could even the voters take an informed decision when they're voting for the corporators, setting up an agenda saying clean our lakes, get the roads sorted out, so that, because even this issue is also leading to traffic problems. So we can see that people are not being able to drive on the roads. First reason, because it's frothing. Secondly, it is slippery. It could also cause people to have accidents, and they could lose their lives if they are actually speeding on the road. So a lot of, it's almost like a domino effect that is being seen.
Right.
So definitely,
Rohini, do stay with me. We also have Mr. Harish Bijur joining me on the phone line. Mr. Bijur, what do you make of the situation in Bengaluru? This is one image that keeps resurfacing every few months on the roads of that IT city, if you can even call it one anymore.
Absolutely. I think this is a big city problem, and this is a huge problem because, the lakes forming over, and we also have, groundwater issues which are affecting vegetable growing, etc. in the areas. So if you really ask me, I think there's precious little being done on this. In fact, the election ahead is going to be an important one where every ward is going to look at a corporator who possibly is going to be a person who owns the area and not disowns the area.
And Mr. Bijur, who would you hold accountable for this mess that we're seeing, this huge civic mess in Bengaluru?
Sadly, it is a lack of planning. And even when some things are planned, they are criticized. So I think there is a huge need for a public-private partnership in developing this city forward, because I don't believe the government on its own is able to take this on their own and create, justice for the people who live in the area.
And what's
I would recommend a public-private partnership.
Yes, and what's surprising also is that earlier, when we saw the same thing happen earlier this year in April, you had the state's pollution control come out and say that the froth is not a worry, it's only the bad smell that's emerging. That's a problem. So clearly there is civic apathy also that we're seeing in Bengaluru.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, our standards are very low. I mean, how can we even say that, the froth is not an issue? It is only a visual issue and it is not a physical issue. Everything starts with the visual. I mean, there's no smoke without fire. And I think, the froth is the fire, and there is definitely a lot of smoke under all of it.
All right, Mr. Vijur and Rohini Swami, thanks for joining us on the broadcast. That is a very, very worrying situation that we're seeing on the roads of Bengaluru.